straight gates. Broad is the path of destruction, but narrow is the way. Jeremiah 31, for the new covenant we shall wait. Hebrews 8, yeah. Hebrews 8, for the new covenant we shall wait. All praise to the Most High Yahweh Elohim. Praise Yah. Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yahshua, the only way to reach the Father. Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yahshua, the only way to reach the Father.
Started from the bottom, now we heal. You already know what it is. Giving praise to the God of Israel. Yeah, the truth has been revealed. Even though a lot of men should live, the whole world has been deceived for real. Read Revelation chapter 12. Time will tell who will prevail 400 year captivity. But we coming out of here. Prophecy been fulfilled. Gotta live righteously. Yeah, we'll see who is real and who will be out. Cause of fear, cause of doubt. Who will hear and believe our report. Time to resort back to the sword. Yeah, the mighty one through the sun. Final run, we gon' fight. If it is real, Ephesians 6 and 12. Yeah, we battle where the evil dwell. Hell is just a grace. So yeah, you know we walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Who shall we feel? Come on, cause salvation is near. Even though it's a war going on, gotta keep marching on. This is for my pills. He that hath the ear, hear. It's time to go home, for real.
Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yahshua, the only way to reach the Father. Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yahshua, the only way to reach the Father. It's too late now. All praise to Yahweh, the Most High, our Elohim. Yeah. Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yahshua, the only way to reach the Father. Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yahshua, the only way to reach the Father. On a mission to snatch my people straight about that fire. On a mission to snatch the lamb out the mouth of a lion. If you notice he ain't in the fold, leave the 99. Just say that brother or sister somehow we left behind. Should I leave the 99 sheep to go back for the one? I mean, that's still 99 and that's more than some. Yahshua came for the lost sheep. Let's get him young. He might be seeking a change like the prodigal son. Wise as a serpent, homeless as doves. That's how we played. Blocking these fiery arrows. Strap on my shoulder faith. Many are called, few are chosen. What the scriptures say. Jeremiah 31:21. The ship's on the way, crossing the Jordan, still waters. We want no trouble that day. Matthew 7:13. Enter through the straight gates. Broad is the path of destruction, but narrow is the way. Jeremiah 31, for the new covenant we shall wait. Hebrews 8, yeah. Hebrews 8, for the new covenant we shall wait. All praise to the Most High Yahweh Elohim. Praise Yah. Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yahshua, the only way to reach the Father. Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yahshua, the only way to reach the Father.
Started from the bottom, now we heal. You already know what it is. Giving praise to the God of Israel. The truth has been revealed. Even though a lot of men should live, the whole world has been deceived for real. Read Revelation chapter 12. Time will tell who will prevail 400 year captivity. But we coming out of here. Prophecy been fulfilled. Gotta live righteously. Yeah, we'll see who is real and who will be out. Cause of fear, cause of doubt. Who will hear and believe our report. Time to resort back to the sword. Yeah, the mighty one through the sun. Final run, we gon' fight. If it is real, Ephesians 6 and 12. Yeah, we battle where the evil dwell. Hell is just a grace. So yeah, you know we walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Who shall we feel? Come on, cause salvation is near. Even though it's a war going on, gotta keep marching on. This is for my pills. He that hath the ear, hear. It's time to go home, for real.
Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yeshua, the only way to reach the Father. Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yeshua, the only way to reach the Father. It's too late now. All praise to Yahweh, the Most High, our Elohim. Yeah. Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yeshua, the only way to reach the Father. Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yeshua, the only way to
On a mission to snatch my people straight about that fire. On a mission to snatch the lamb out the mouth of a lion. If you notice he ain't in the fold, leave the 99. Just save that brother or sister somehow we left behind. Should I leave the 99 sheep to go back for the one? I mean, that's still 99 and that's more than some. Yeshua came for the lost sheep, let's get him young. He might be seeking a change like the prodigal son. Wise as a serpent, homeless as doves, that's how we played. Black of these fiery arrows, strapped with my shield of faith. Many are called, few are chosen, what the scriptures say. Jeremiah 31:21, the ship's on the way, crossing the Jordan, still waters, we want no trouble that day. Matthew 7:13, enter through the straight gates, broad is the path of destruction, but narrow is the way. Jeremiah 31, for the new covenant we shall wait. Hebrews 8, yeah, Hebrews 8, for the new covenant we shall wait. All praise to the Most High, Yahweh Elohim, praise Yah. Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yeshua, the only way to reach the Father. Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yeshua, the only way to reach the Father. Started from the bottom, now we heal. You already know what it is. Giving praise to the God of Israel. Yeah, the truth has been revealed. Even though a lot of men said live, the whole world they been deceived for real. Read Revelation chapter 12. Time will tell who will prepare 400 year captivity. But we coming out of here. Prophecy been fulfilled. Gotta live righteously. Yeah, we'll see who is real and who will peer out. Cause of fear, cause of doubt. Who will hear and believe our report. Time to resort back to the sword. Yeah, the mighty one through the sun. Fight a run. We gon' fight if it is real. Ephesians 6:12. Yeah, we battle where the evil dwell. Hell is just a grace. So yeah, you know we walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Who shall we feel? Come on, cause salvation is near. Even though it's a war going on, gotta keep marching on. This is for my pills. Either have the ill heal. It's time to go home, for real. Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yeshua, the only way to reach the Father. Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yeshua, the only way to reach the Father. It's too late now. All praise to Yahweh, the Most High, our Elohim. Yeah. Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yeshua, the only way to reach the Father. Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yeshua, the only way to reach the Father. On a mission to snatch my
my people straight about that fire. On a mission to snatch the lamb out the mouth of a lion. If you notice he ain't in the fold, leave the 99 to save that brother or sister somehow we left behind. Should I leave the 99 sheep to go back for the one? I mean, that's still 99 and that's more than some. Yahshua came for the lost sheep, let's get him young. He might be seeking a change like the prodigal son. Wise as a serpent, homeless as doves, that's how we played. Blocking these fiery arrows, strap on my shoulder faith. Many are called, few are chosen, what the scriptures say. Jeremiah 31:21, the ship's on the way, crossing the Jordan, still waters, we want no trouble that day. Matthew 7:13, enter through the straight gates. Broad is the path of destruction, but narrow is the way. Jeremiah 31, for the new covenant we shall wait. Hebrews 8, yeah. Hebrews 8, for the new covenant we shall wait. All praise to the Most High Yahweh Elohim. Praise Yah. Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yahshua, the only way to reach the Father. Yahweh chose us from the bottom. Yeah, we ran to a couple of problems, but Yahweh still got us. You got a problem, he can solve it. We keep the commandments. We teach our sons and teach our daughters. We pray through Yahshua, the only way to reach the Father.
Started from the bottom, now we heal. You already know what it is. Giving praise to the God of Israel. The truth has been revealed, even though a lot of man said live the whole world. They been deceived for real. Read Revelation chapter 12. Time will tell who will prevail 400 year captivity. But we coming out of
Shalom Facebook, Shalom YouTube. Welcome to our history class. Tonight we are in the book of Nehemiah, chapter 9. But before we get started, does anyone have any questions? Okay. Let's go ahead and get started then.
Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 1. Now in the 24th day of this month, the children of Israel were assembled with fasting and with sackcloth and earth upon them.
Now, before we continue on, let's get some background to what we're reading here. Now, these are the children of Israel that came out of the Babylonian captivity after being there for 70 years, so they're getting started over again. In the book of Nehemiah, Nehemiah was sent to Jerusalem to rebuild the wall. So we were seeing them come back together, start keeping their old ways before they went into the Babylonian captivity. So it says in verse 1, now in the 24th day of this month, the children of Israel were assembled with fasting and with sackcloth and earth upon them. And so that's a sign of mourning when they're in a lamentable state of mind because they are still, they don't have that kingdom anymore. They are now living under the power of the Persian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire. So I just wanted to give a little background as to what we're dealing with here. Again, they're coming back out of the captivity and getting themselves back together. Go ahead, Brother Stephen.
Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 1. Now in the 24th day of this month, the children of Israel were assembled with fasting and with sackcloth and earth upon them. And the seed of Israel separated themselves from all strangers and stood and confessed their sins and the iniquities of their fathers.
So we read the same thing in Israel, chapter 9. They had to separate themselves from the strangers. They broke the law and married other people. And so we have the same situation during the time of Nehemiah. While they were in the back captivity, they had come together with the other nations they weren't supposed to come together with. So here they're back in the land, so they separate themselves from all the strangers they had become familiar with. Go ahead, Brother Stephen.
Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 3. And they stood up in their place and read in the book of the law of Yahweh their Elohim 1/4 part of the day, and another 4th part they confessed and worshiped Yahweh their Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
Then stood up upon the stairs of the Levites Joshua and Bani, Cadmiel, Shebaniah, Bani, Sherebiah, Bani, and Chenani, and cried with a loud voice unto Yahweh their Elohim. Then the Levites, Joshua and Cadmiel, Bani, and Hashabniah, Sherebiah, Hodiah, Shebaniah, and Pethahiah said, stand up and bless Yahweh your Elohim forever and ever, and blessed be thy glorious name, which is exalted above all blessing and praise. Thou, even thou, art Yahweh alone. Thou hast made heaven, the heaven of heavens, with all their hosts, the earth and all things that are therein, the seas and all that is therein, and thou preservest them all. And the host of heaven worshipeth thee. Thou art Yahweh the Elohim, who did choose Abram and brought him forth out of Ur the Chaldees, and gave him the name of Abraham, and found his heart faithful before thee, and made us a covenant with him to give the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Jebusites, and the Girgashites, to give it, I say, to his seed, and has performed thy words, but thou art righteous, and didst see the affliction of our fathers in Egypt, and heard of their cry by the Red Sea, and show up signs and wonders upon Pharaoh, and on all his servants, and on all the people of his land. For thou knewest that they dealt proudly against them, so didst thou get thee a name, as it is this day. And thou didst divide the sea before them, so that they went through the midst of the sea on dry land, and their persecutors thou threwest into the deeps as a stone into the mighty waters. Moreover, thou leddest them in the day by a cloud of pillar, and in the night by a pillar of fire, to give them light in the way wherein they should go. Thou camest down also upon Mount Sinai, and spakest with them from heaven, and gavest them right judgments and true laws, good statutes and commandments, and madest known unto them thy holy Sabbath, and commanded them precepts, statutes, and laws by the hand of Moshe thy servant, and gavest them bread from heaven for their hunger, and brought forth water for them out of the rock for their thirst, and promised them that they should go in to possess the land which thou hadst sworn to give them. But they and our fathers dealt proudly, and hardened their necks, and hearkened not to thy commandments, and refused to obey, neither were mindful of thy wonders that thou didst among them, but hardened their necks, and in their rebellion appointed a captain to return to their bondage. But thou art a Elohim, ready to pardon, gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and forsooketh them not. Yea, when they had made them a molten calf, and said, This is thy God that brought thee up out of Egypt, and had wrought great provocations, yet thou, in thy manifold mercies, forsooketh them not in the wilderness. The pillar of the cloud departed not from them by day to lead them in the way, neither the pillar of fire by night to show them light and the way wherein they should go. Thou gavest them also thy good spirit to instruct them, and withheld not thy manna from their mouth, and gavest them water for their thirst. Yea, 40 years didst thou sustain them in the wilderness, so that they lacked nothing. Their clothes wax not old, and their feet swell not. Moreover, thou gavest them kingdoms and nations, and didst divide them into corners. So they possessed the land of Sihon, and the land of the king of Heshbon, and the land of Og, king of Bashan. Their children also multiplies thou as the stars of heaven, and broughtest them into the land concerning which thou hadst promised to their fathers, that they should go in to possess it. So the children went in and possessed the land, and thou subdued before them the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, and gave of them into their hands with their kings and the people of the land, that they might do with them as they would. And they took strong cities and a fat land, and possessed houses full of all goods, well digs, vineyards, and olive yards, and fruit trees in abundance. So they did eat and were filled, and became fat, and delighted themselves in thy great goodness. Nevertheless, they were disobedient, and rebelled against thee, and cast thy law behind their backs, and slew thy prophets which testified against them, to turn them to thee, and they wrought great provocations. Therefore thou deliverest them into the hand of their enemies, who vexed them. And in the time of their trouble, when they cried unto thee, thou heardest them from heaven, And according to thy manifold mercies, thou gave them saviors who saved them out of the hand of their enemies. But after they had rest, they did evil again before thee. Therefore leftest thou them in the hand of their enemies, so that they had the dominion over them. Yet when they returned and cried unto thee, thou heardest them from heaven, and many times didst thou deliver them according to thy mercies, and testified against them, that thou mightest bring them again unto thy law. Yet they dealt proudly, and hearkened not unto thy commandments, but sinned against thy judgment, which if a man do, he shall live in them, and withdrew the shoulder, and hardened their neck, and would not hear. Yet many years didst thou forbear them, and testified against them by thy spirit and thy prophets. Yet would they not give ear, therefore gavest thou them into the hand of the people of the lands. Nevertheless, for thy great mercy's sake, thou didst not utterly consume them, nor forsake them, for thou art a gracious and merciful Elohim. Now therefore, our Elohim, the great and mighty and the terrible God, who keepeth covenant and mercy, let not all the trouble seem little before thee that have come upon us, on our kings, on our princes, and on our priests, and on our prophets, and on our fathers, and on all the people, since the time of the kings of Assyria unto this day. Howbeit, thou art just in all that is brought upon us, for thou hast done right, but we have done wickedly. Neither have our kings, our princes, our priests, nor our fathers kept thy law, nor hearkened unto thy commandments and thy testimonies, wherewith thou didst testify against them. For they have not served thee in their kingdom, and in thy great goodness that thou gavest them, and in the large and fat land which thou gavest before them, neither turned they from their wicked works. Behold, we are servants this day, and for the land that thou gavest unto our fathers to eat the fruit thereof, and the good thereof, behold, we are servants in it. And it yieldeth much increase unto the kings, whom thou hast set over us because of our sins. Also they have dominion over our bodies and over our cattle at their pleasure, and we are in great distress. And because of all this, we make a sure covenant and write it, and our princes, Levites, and priests seal unto it.
Now, this is strange. It was strange to the children of Israel to have somebody else beside their own people ruling over them. And so they're fasting, and that's what they do when they're on a lot of stress. These are strangers that are ruling over them. The Medo-Persian Empire, which they came, Daniel prophesied that they would come, but nevertheless, they have to bear the shame of not having a king. By the time our time came along, we didn't even know what having a king was like. But see, they knew what having a king was like. They knew when they were independent. But we here in America, we don't know who we are, and we're used to white people running everything. So it seemed that naturally they want to accept white people running this country. They can't imagine us running the country, especially just real black people. Now you got that African slicked his way up in there, but nevertheless, we had our own land. Yahweh brought us back into our own land. At least we were familiar with that, but now we don't even have that. So now our hope is in the Mashiach himself. That will be our last king. So we read about him. So we're glad that we now have a king. Yahweh showing us that we got a land. So all that's coming back to us. We just got to finish out our tenure here in America. Yeah.
I just was reading that chapter. I was thinking about, I know everything gonna be all right, straight for us in the wilderness, you know, like our fathers and neighbors in the wilderness. But on our trip from here to the wilderness, as far as the food situation, everything, would that apply to the trip too, and not just the wilderness? As far as not having to worry about anything.
What you mean, trip?
On our way to the wilderness, you know what I mean? Like in the wilderness, I know once we get there.
From getting off the boats?
Yeah, I know once, even the boat ride itself, I know once we get there, everything gonna be straight. But just the trip itself, would that be straight? Or that apply?
we leave when we leave America on them boats, right? We got one destination, the west coast of Africa.
Right.
And so the question is, will we have something to have to be taken care of on our journey to the wilderness?
Right.
I can't answer that. But what I can say is that when our fathers came out of Egypt, they had angels with them, right? When they complained about not having the food, Yahweh rained manna down on them. Then he rained quails down on them. So he took care of them. But according to prophecies of our next wilderness experience, we ain't got to worry about all that. Yahweh gonna provide, because he saw what our father went through. He said, y'all not gonna go what they went through. All they did was murmur. All right, so I'm looking at y'all gonna have everything already set up for us to leave America and to get on those boats and get to the west coast of Africa. And one thing about that is that when you find yourself over there on the west coast of Africa, so far from home, it's gonna blow your mind. Said, the book's right. So once we get there, now there should be no more doubts. So now Yahweh got us now. So all we gotta do now is have faith that even though the answer to your question, yeah, he'll have something waiting on us. And I know I calculated it to be about 9 weeks for us to leave the west coast of Africa to head to the wilderness. That's a long time. That's over 2 months. Yeah.
Because you think we have to slow down because the children, the kids, do a
Yeah.
lot more pauses. That's
Yeah.
going to stretch out a little bit because of the kids
Yeah, that's
and the babies.
now what I was saying about that
Older.
9 weeks. That's nonstop, right?
Right.
But we got to stop and rest. We got to stop and eat. We got to clean ourselves up. So that's going to take a little time also. So we don't know the logistics of everything we got to do, but we know we have to think about the little children because they can't move as fast as us. And so, and plus we may have infirmed out there, so they have to be taken care of. That's why I'm glad I talked to Brother Eliyahu today from California. He had his back surgery, and it was painful, but nevertheless he's adjusting to it. He got a little bit more to be done with him, but I think he's been living with this thing a long time, and so he's kind of got accustomed to the pain. But he said he's doing better. He expects to do better, and he thanked us for praying for him. And it was good talking to the brother. Sound like he was in good spirits when I talked to him. So I praise Yah that all the prayers have been praying to Yahweh about it being answered. And so I'm looking. You know what he said today? He said he looks forward to sneaking up on us one day. We ain't gonna see him coming. He's just gonna walk up on us.
Look forward to that happening.
I'm told I look forward to that, man.
Forward to seeing all these people we see online.
Yeah, it'll just blow me away, man. I say, oh man, you made it out. You did exactly what you wanted to do. So that's what he's looking forward to, man. So he's got a lot of hope. He hasn't given up. But go ahead, Brother Stephen.
Nehemiah.
I'll tell you what, now in verse 38, 38, it says, and because of all this we make a sure covenant and write it, and our princes, Levites, and priests seal unto it. So what I want you to do, Brother Stephen, is read, I don't want you to read all the names, just read verse 1.
Now those that sealed were Nehemiah the Tishatha, the son of Hakaliah, and Zedekiah.
Okay, now I want you to drop down here, the verse, pick it up at verse 28.
And the rest of the people, the priests, the Levites, the porters, the singers, the Nethinims, and all they that had separated themselves from the people of the lands unto the law of Elohim, their wives, their sons, and their daughters, every one having knowledge and having understanding, they clave to their brethren, their nobles, and entered into a curse and into an oath to walk in Elohim's law, which was given by Moshe, the servant of Elohim, and to observe and do all the commandments of Yahweh our Adonai, and his judgments and his statutes, and that we would not give our daughters unto the people of the land, nor take their daughters for our sons. And if the people of the land bring ware or any victuals on the Sabbath day to sell, that we would not buy it of them on the Sabbath or on the holy day, and that we would leave the seventh year and the exaction of every debt.
Going back to the law. Go ahead, Brother Stephen.
Also, we made ordinances for us to charge ourselves yearly with the third part of a shekel for the service of the house of our Elohim, for the showbread and for the continual meal offering and for the continual burnt offering of the Sabbaths, of the new moons, for the set feasts, and for the holy things, and for the sin offerings to make an atonement for Israel, and for all the work of the house of our Elohim. And we cast lots among the priests, the Levites, and the people for the wood offering to bring it into the house of our Elohim, after the houses of our fathers, at the time appointed year by year, to burn upon the altar of Yahweh our Elohim, as it is written in the law, and to bring the first fruits of our ground, and the first fruits of all fruit of all trees year by year unto the house of Yahweh. Also the firstborn of our sons and of our cattle, as it is written in the law, and the firstlings of our herds and of our flocks, to bring to the house of our Elohim, unto the priests that minister in the house of our Elohim, and that we should bring the first fruits of our dough and our offerings, and the fruit of all manner of trees of wine and oil, unto the priests to the chambers of the house of our Elohim, and the tithes of our ground unto the Levites, that the Levites might have the tithes in all the cities of our tillage. And the priest, the son of Aaron, shall be with the Levites when the Levites take tithes, and the Levites shall bring up the tithe of the tithes unto the house of our Elohim, to the chambers, into the treasure house. For the children of Israel and the children of Levi shall bring the offering of the grain of the new wine and the oil unto the chambers, where are the vessels of the sanctuary, and the priests that minister, and the porters and the singers, and we will not forsake the house of our Elohim.
So the singers got a special place in the city, around the temple. They have to take care of the singers. So what you notice, though, in some of this, let me see if I can find it. That was the people that were working in the temple had different jobs. Let me see. And now that gave me some idea of how the kingdom's gonna be set up. You got the temple. You're gonna have people working inside the temple. Yeah, special job to check, like our father did, check be porters to check what the animals are suitable for sacrifice, what the sacrifice for. Another thing about this I noticed is that, and it's in the law when it comes to the animal sacrifice, you got to take the firstborn of that animal and give it to Yahweh. Now the animal may have some more calves or whatever, but that firstborn is given to Yahweh. Why was that? Why was it always the firstborn of those animals?
That's the strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the strength of the animal, right?
Strength?
I mean, like the firstborn of man is the strength, so that kind of like the strength of the animal, like the first fruits, that's like the best of the crop.
Well, they want the firstborn of the animal because it's the most innocent. And that's the perfect sacrifice for a person's sin, because it's substitutionary, that you're supposed to be sacrificing your blood. And instead you got an innocent animal that's a baby. And you can't get no more innocent than a baby. But that's what Yahweh wants. The most innocent person or beast that you got is that baby, to atone for your sins, or the all sacrifices to them. All the firstborn of all the beasts belong to Yahweh. All the firstborn of us belong to Yahweh also. But we have to redeem them from Yahweh. We redeem our sons from Yahweh. And so we do that with the proper amount of shekels. But these animals, you got to give them up. So it's coming back. You're going to have to do the same thing. We don't know anything about animals. So we'll take that firstborn right on up there. We'll check it later, buddy.
Do you think we have some animals in the wilderness and get a chance to start practicing that a little bit in the wilderness?
Practicing sacrificing.
You know, you got to practicing keeping up with the firstborn. You know, that's a process. You got animals got to keep up with who is the firstborn year after year, and you know what I mean. They start practicing it. You know what I mean.
In the
Even
wilderness?
sacrifice. I mean, like in the wilderness, because we got a lot we got to learn still.
Yeah, well, you ain't gonna have the animals out there in the wilderness.
No.
No.
Okay.
See, first of all, you got to remember our fathers had the altar out there and the tabernacle. And they built that. And we read about the first sacrifice our father did when Moshe offered up peace offerings out there in the wilderness after he had before he went up to 40 days and 40 nights. So they knew all about peace offerings and all kinds of stuff until Moshe had the law written down concerning animal sacrifices. But they had a lot of cattle with them when they came out of Egypt too, right? A lot of flocks. I don't think we're gonna have that.
Well, I mean, if we don't have no animals in the wilderness, where we gonna get the animals from? Where they gonna come from? Like we don't have. We gonna take Jerusalem. We gonna be just us take the land back. Where the animals gonna come from?
Well, what makes you think we're gonna need them?
We gotta bring sacrifices, right? And to keep the law.
No, not while the Mashiach hadn't returned yet.
Okay, I got you.
So yeah, he got to come back first.
Okay.
Then the animal sacrifice start back up.
The priest got to do that though, right?
Yeah.
You got to find out who the Levites are.
Who are the priests? Who the Levites?
Yeah.
Okay, so once Messiah returns, it's still like a learning process. So he gives like a little like couple year of wait, so we can learn how to keep up and do all that stuff. You know, it's a process. I ain't never had no animals.
But I know, and there's different ways we can look at that because we're not used to that type of thing already.
Right.
So we have to consider that there may be people around that show us
Okay.
how to do those type things.
Right.
Because just because we haven't been around, it doesn't mean that other people hadn't been around.
Okay.
Yes, other people got more experience than us, and they'll show us the right way to do these things. So our father was brought up using that, but we ain't been around animals in a long time, so we don't know how to kill it the correct way.
Cause I was thinking, like when the guy was talking about they were looking for the lamb for the Passover, I was like, I wouldn't know what a blemished animal looks like from a regular animal. What is a blemish? I wouldn't even have a clue. It's just a lamb to me or a goat. I wouldn't even know if it's good or bad. You know what I mean?
Well, let's look at what you're looking at here.
Right.
Now, say we did have animal sacrifices out there. What would you do with the blood?
Right. Well, I mean, that's the second one. Just keep up with the firstborn. Just learn how to keep up with this stuff.
You can't practice on animals, man.
You know what I think? When women that got dogs now,
Yeah.
living with the dog, they ain't let you sacrifice them animals. When black women, they'll hurt you out there.
If they out there.
Yeah, I'm saying if they were out there,
Yeah.
they'll hurt you. I'm just talking to you.
Nah,
They'll hurt you.
they ain't gonna be out there.
Don't
man.
be killing no lamb.
Y'all be merciful to us, so you can purge them out as soon as you can.
But them sisters,
But,
I open the
can you
door.
imagine how we look at them?
Yeah.
How y'all always look at them too. Yeah.
And where did they get the new wine from? Did every family,
We'll watch that.
verse 39, when they bring the grain and also of the new wine, their offering?
The new wine would be those that early ripening of the grapes,
Mm-hmm.
and that'll be the first one that they put in the vat to let it ferment. So that'll be. Now we're looking at the wine, the grape growing season is around October and September and October. So they, but like they do now, they let the wine ferment, and depend on how they want the wine, You want it real strong, real light. So it depends, gives you the timeline as to how long to hold that wine in the barrel. I don't know if they had barrels back in the day, but they had vats. But as far as us concerned, yeah, we're gonna have barrels like they got now.
I know a plastic bag by the week is kind of strong.
Yeah, you got to have the proper wood to hold that wine, because certain wines evolve into champagne, cognac, and other types of wine, depending on how long it's been in the barrel. But we're gonna have all that, Yahweh, with it. But again, the wine growing season is around the second half of the year, and so those grapes should be prepared. I don't know the timeline on growing grapes, but I don't think it's that very long. But we were wine growers out there. Another thing we used to do, we kept bees. Because it was always mentioning honey, so we were beekeepers. So we got different outlets where we can take up and start our own businesses. That's something we got to get used to, because we got to start our own business. Man. People got to come to us. We got to attract people, how to bring business to our country. So we so used to work for people with that. We think we supposed to have a job when we go up in there. Ain't gonna be no job but the job you put in. So we gotta get out of that mindset of working for somebody and have people working for us. See, and that's how you get started. That's what our fathers used to do. Have people working for them. So you're gonna see what it's like, because it's kind of strange to have people working for you. You never had that done before, and these are not necessarily your own people. They could be strangers. Isn't that written in Isaiah 61, that the Gentiles gonna plant vine trees? Yeah, so they're gonna be there, and they'll be there to help you. They'll be glad to help you.
Can we trade our servants?
Hmm?
Can we trade our servants?
Can we do what?
Trade our servants.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a business deal, right? So you sit down with the master and y'all chew it up and see what you want out of it. If you want one of his servants to do something for you, you work out a deal. I mean, they did that here in America. A slave could rent himself out and gain enough money to buy his family, or buy himself from slavery. So yeah, they were allowed to do that. So they'll be allowed to do that. It's not like it's going to be slavery for the Gentiles. I mean, they're going to be our servants, but they're going to be willing servants. They'll be glad to be our servants. It's not like we have to go and kidnap them from somewhere and bring them over here, or buy them from somebody and bring them over here, over to our land. They're going to volunteer themselves. And we're going to treat them right. We ain't going to treat them like they treated us. We're not that kind of people. But nevertheless, that's what the prophets say, that all the nations going to be our servants. And if they refuse to be our servants, Yahweh going to destroy them. So they got a choice. Either serve us or be destroyed. So some of them say, I don't want to be destroyed. I'm sorry. I know y'all. I take the short stick.
We ain't that bad, is it?
Yeah, but yeah, hey man, who you blame them? They just go to hell, man. Just throw me to fire now. I've seen these people before. Yeah, but no, I doubt that. And see, God understands something. Satan gonna be on lockdown for 1,000 years. So your mind's not even gonna be the same when the Mashiach shows back up, because you're not gonna have any of those spirits out there that can influence what you do and what you say. And so it'll be a sensation where man has never felt these things before. A sense of peace, and well-being, no threat of war, and always plenty for everybody on earth. And that's something man will appreciate. Then man will realize is Yahweh and his people. It's called they finally got back home. Now there's no more wars. So again, that's what we're looking forward to. Yahweh's going, like the book of Revelation said, that Yahweh's going to feed us for 3.5 years. So we don't have to worry about when we get there, right? But you're talking about how we get there. We don't know. We don't know. We got some variables involved in that we have to consider. Like you said before, may have infirm people out there, may have children out there, and women out there that may not be able to keep up. And so some of the brothers got old like me, so you have to wait on old folk like me and Steve. Yeah. But that's not counting the people that we'll be meeting on the way. Because no doubt we'll probably be passing by Ham's towns. And so Ham might have something waiting on for us when we come through, may have some food waiting on us. Because they'll know what this is all about. Yeah, y'all coming back home, ain't you? Yeah. Come and have dinner with us. And get some of them blessings off there. Nah, yeah.
They fool, man.
Priest bring that blessing in your house. They want that
But-
priest come in.
Did you see the video of Trump and the Saudi prince? And the Saudi prince gave him a cup of something to drink. He had the same cup in his hand. He turned it up, but Trump didn't do that. He held it in his hand. And he ended up putting it on the table in the back of the prince.
The Trump, he doesn't drink.
Well, we don't know what it was.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, with some kind of alcohol, he doesn't drink alcohol.
Well, that might have been it, but
What?
it's not like he ain't done that before.
Oh, you talking about with Esau in that water?
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't understand that. Trump, the way, everybody's treating him, yeah, he got to be
Yeah.
paranoid,
You gotta be
suspicious.
careful, man.
Yeah.
'Cause the people out there want to kill him. So that Saudi prince thought he was doing something good, but like you say, Trump don't drink alcohol. That's why he kept it in his hand. He didn't drink it. So I'm surprised that Saudi prince didn't know that. But I'm pretty sure Trump said he know I don't drink. Why he gave me this cup?
Can you imagine him drinking and getting drunk? He cuts his children, everybody out one.
He started shooting for
Can you imagine him with alcohol?
Secret Service got to go and grab it, man.
That wouldn't be a good sight, a pleasant sight.
Yeah. Brother Stephen, let's go to, you finished up chapter 10, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to chapter 11. Now, you got a whole bunch of names in chapter 11, so I don't want you to go through all them changes. So what I want you to do is start at chapter 11, verse 1 and verse 6.
Verse 1. And the rulers of the people dwelt at Jerusalem. The rest of the people also cast lots to bring 1 of 10 to dwell in Jerusalem, the holy city, and 9 parts to dwell in other cities.
Mm-hmm.
And the people blessed all the men that willingly offered themselves to dwell at Jerusalem. Now these are the chief of the province that dwelt in Jerusalem, but in the cities of Yehuda dwelt every one in his possession in their cities, to wit Israel, the priests, and the Levites, and the Nethinims, and the children of Shlomo's servants. And at Jerusalem dwelt certain of the children of Yehuda, and of the children of Benjamin, of the children of Yehuda, Athaliah, the son of Uzziah, the son of Zechariah, the son of Amariah, the son of Shephatiah, the son of Mahalaleel, of the children of Perez, and Maasai, the son of Baruch, the son of Kohozah, the son of Hasaiah, the son of Adiah, the son of Yorib, the son of Zechariah, the son of Shaloni. All the sons of Perez that dwelled at Jerusalem were 468 valiant men.
So they're getting back together, getting people to live in the city of Jerusalem, and each one of them got a task that they're assigned to do. Let's see here. Brother Stephen, pick this up at verse 17 to verse 19.
And Mattaniah, the son of Micah, the son of Zabdi, the son of Asaph, was the principal to begin the thanksgiving in prayer, and Bakbukiah, the second among his brethren, and Abda, the son of Shammua, the son of Galal, the son of Jeduthun. All the Levites in the holy city were 284. Moreover, the porters, Akub, Talman, and their brethren that kept the gates were 172.
Now, again, we're talking about the Levites and the things that they were responsible for. And as I mentioned before in the book of Ezekiel, we're going to have those people doing the same things again. Brother Stephen, pick this up, verse 20.
And the residue of Israel, of the priests and the Levites, were in all the cities of Yehudah, every one in his inheritance. But the Nethinims dwelt in Ophel, and Silhah and Gizpah were over the Nethinims. The overseer also of the Levites at Jerusalem was Uzzah, the son of Bani, the son of Hashabiah, the son of Mattaniah, the son of Micah. Of the sons of Asaph, the singers were over the business of the house of Elohim. For it was the king's commandment concerning them that a certain portion should be for the singers, due for every day.
Now, again, we had singers among our people back in them days. They had a special place in Jerusalem that they would be taken care of all the time because they looked at the singers as part and ingredient to Yahweh worship. So you look at, for instance, David started the choirs, so now it has evolved into choruses actually. But I think the women also singing among these are Levites and women singing among them. So we kind of doing the same thing ourselves here. We coming back to the law. We getting those things that our fathers used to. We trying to do. We can't make animal sacrifices right now. So what we're doing is something brand new. Our fathers never even heard of what we're doing here. But it's a service that we perform instead of animal sacrifices. And so I don't know how any other congregation works, but I know how we work. What we're doing, again, is something new. We're doing it without the animal sacrifice. Also, when they had the animal sacrifice, did they have a service to go along with it? Why would they need a service for an animal sacrifice? Now, you look at, for instance, they have to bring an animal sacrifice for sin and for peace offerings and for vows. And on the holy days, like Passover, everybody's supposed to eat, but did they have a service? And on the Feast of Unleavened Bread, did they have a service? A Feast of First Fruit, did they have a service?
Didn't say, did it?
All they did was ate.
What sound good to me? Doing that.
I mean, yeah, I mean,
Drink.
they have a special place with a bunch of seats, everybody sitting around, eating. They just ate and probably just went back home. Yeah,
What was there to have a service about? Because everything was about the law and the prophet, right?
I know. But if you go up into Acts chapter 13, they were having Sabbath service in Perga. All right, but and that's when Paul showed up. And when he showed up, they were reading the law and the prophets. All right, so that was a Sabbath. But what about those feast days? Did they still sit around reading the law and the prophets?
We don't know.
I don't think so. Because, first of all, they didn't have books like this. They had scrolls. And so I can't imagine them sitting out there with them scrolls and greasing meat all over the place, getting all over the scrolls. So I always see them, the priests, the Levites, preparing the meal for them. They ate, but there's nothing else that they did. Didn't say they did anything else.
Would them reading the law and prophets be considered a service?
You have to, well, I know that'll be part of the service in the synagogue, but with the temple, you would have the priest already there. We're supposed to have a holy convocation, that's true, and that holy convocation will be reading the law and the prophets. So we would have that along with the food, because the priest is supposed to sacrifice an animal twice a day. not including it on the Sabbath day. I mean, including the Sabbath day especially, but also on those feast days. So that's one portion of celebrating that day is a sacrifice. But the other portion, because remember, you got to bring the sacrifice at the temple. So they may have done that during the time of Paul, then came back to the synagogue and had service. Because I can't see them having a service with the priest already there. If anybody's going to be there, that'll be the ones that teach them the law, right? But what about the people that already know the law and still want to make the animal sacrifice? So like I say, they might have. This is my take on it. They may just have left the temple and went back to the synagogue to speak about the law of the prophets. Yeah. So if you notice, they had scribes and Pharisees knowing the law of the prophets very well, but and so they would sit down with the people and speak about the law of the prophets. But the Mashiach did the same thing. And in fact, they consider him a greater teacher than the scribes and Pharisees. But how that's going to work out this time, I don't know. Because this first time I'm considering this, all we got is a scant description of what they did back in those days. They would have the animal sacrifice, put the fat on the altar, and they sat there and eat the rest of the animals. They didn't say what they did after that. Yeah. I mean, it took a long time to do it because they got to prepare that animal. And so, what they might have done was brought money to the temple and bought an animal already there. But nevertheless, they still got to dress the animal. And that may take a while. We don't know. I've seen them do that in about 5 minutes with a real sharp knife. There was cows and goats, and it's like they cut a little gash in the hoof of the goat and pull the skin back a little bit, and then they'll pull that skin all the way off, like it was a grape, skin of grape. So they come off in one piece. Now, again, they got to slit that animal down the middle of his stomach, get the guts out of it, and just have the meat that's left. The guts will be on the altar to Yahweh, to burn a sweet savor unto Yahweh. But the rest of the meat, they got to boil it, and then they got to eat it. Yeah.
In the kingdom, will we still be studying out the Bible, you think?
What now?
In the kingdom, will you still be studying out this book, you think, the Bible? Will there be some changes, something be taken out, something be what, you know what you think?
Would this be necessary with the Mashiach being there?
I mean, you still got to
Because it's got to go according to his way.
You still got to teach the kids, like in Deuteronomy, teach the kids the law, walk and talk.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, a lot of that stuff ain't gonna be already been fulfilled.
Okay.
So
So it has to be redesigned to think.
yeah, so some of that stuff that's in the law, we may not need to do anymore. But again, we just have to wait and see, because it's going to be the Mashiach's kingdom. And so we got to see how he wants to set his own kingdom up, because he's the son of Yah, so he has a lot of authority. So we got to see how he wants that thing set up, because not only are you going to have the Aaronic priesthood there, you're going to have the Melchizedek priesthood. So that's a big question mark. What would they do, and how would they be part of the whole grand scheme of things?
But you know,
then we ain't mentioned 144,000.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Elder, it's obvious you're gonna have sin in that kingdom, right?
You're gonna have what?
It's gonna be sin in the kingdom.
All
of
over the
heaven.
world.
So we're gonna have to do it as the Mashiach did, as his custom was. We're gonna come together on Sabbath and read out the law, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you don't have no excuse, like you've been saying, your excuse for dying or committing sin, he's gonna be in the midst of you. You're gonna have that book. And plus, we practicing right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Practice make perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. See, I don't know any other congregation in America that doing exactly what we're doing.
Mm.
Now, again, we read the law, the whole law, the animal sacrifice, portion of the law, the dietary law, all those things. We don't know if the other people do that. Some of them just Israelites in name only. They don't have anything to go along, even to prove it. But we just read here in Nehemiah, chapter 9, where they went over their history. of what how they got started and how they got over to where they were now. So we got that same mindset. We know our history, so we don't mind if anybody want to know. We let them know what our father Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were promised the land of Canaan. So keep on going from there. At least they'll know that we know who we are. Yeah.
Do you think our wilderness experience and us taking the kingdom back will be added to the book? You think, as far as the history?
Would we add something to the book?
I'm talking when we in the wilderness, and then when we take the kingdom back, you think that'll be added to the book as part of the history as we go on in the kingdom?
It don't need to be added.
Okay.
Because it's already written down, right?
Okay.
So everything that's written down, we got to fulfill.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's talking about us. Yeah. So that,
I mean,
yeah.
maybe something like the details, maybe. You know what I mean?
Now, come on now, yeah, man.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, you want to see your name up in there. So. Brother Hill killed 300 people.
I'm aiming for about 8.
So,
I'm working out for about 8.
we'll see. Maybe we'll put your name up there somewhere, man. But go ahead, Brother Seven.
Nehemiah chapter 11, verse 24. And Pethahiah, the son of Mishael, Abiel, of the children of Zerah, the son of Yehuda, was at the king's hand in all matters concerning the people. And for the villages with their fields, some of the children of Yehuda dwelt at Kiryat Arba, and in the villages.
Stephen, I don't
Okay.
read that.
Okay.
Let's go over here to now. Some of this stuff we've already read in Ezra, so we're not going. I tell you what, let's do this. Let's pick this up in chapter 12 and verse 22. Brother Stephen, all the way down to verse 30.
The Levites in the days of Elisha, Jordah, and Johanan, and Jaddua were recorded chief of the fathers, also the priests to the reign of Darius the Persian. The sons of Levi, the chief of the fathers, were written in the book of the Chronicles, even unto the days of Johanan the son of Elisha. And the chief of the Levites, Hashabiah, Sherebiah, Joshua the son of Cadmiel, with their brethren over against them, to praise and to give thanks according to the commandment of David, the man of Elohim, ward over against ward. Mattaniah and Bakbukiah, Obadiah, Meshullam, Talmud, and Akub were porters keeping the ward at the threshold of the gates. These were in the days of Joachim, the son of Joshua, the son of Jozadak, and in the days of Nehemiah the governor, and of Ezra the priest, the scribe. And at the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem, they sought the Levites out of all their places to bring them to Jerusalem to keep the dedication with gladness, both with thanksgiving and with singing, with cymbals, psalteries, and with harps. And the sons of the singers gathered themselves together, both out of the plain country round about Jerusalem, and from the villages of Netophathi, also from the house of Gilgal, and out of the fields of Jeba and Asmavah, for the singers had built them villages round about Jerusalem. And the priests and the Levites purified themselves, and purified the people, and the gates, and the wall.
Now, in verse 27, it says, and at the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem, they sought the Levites out of all their places to bring them to Jerusalem to keep the dedication with gladness, both with thanksgiving and with singing, with cymbals and psalteries and with harps. What is this dedication of the wall? What's that about? Is that the same dedication that the Jews were keeping during the time of Mashiach, or is not?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, what dedication were they keeping?
I think they would keep the dedication of the temple.
Right. But this is just talking about a wall.
Right.
Right. So look how much trouble they go through just dedicating the wall. It's a very special event. So they had to call the Levites together and give thanksgiving and play music and all those things just for the wall. They were serious people back in the days. Brother Seth, let's pick this up in verse 44 to verse 47.
And at the time were some appointed over the chambers for the treasures, for the offerings, for the first fruits, and for the tithes, to gather into them out of the fields of the cities the portions of the law for the priests and Levites, for Yehuda rejoiced, for that the priests and for the Levites that waited.
Mm-hmm.
And both the singers and the porters kept the ward of their Elohim and the ward of their purification, according to the commandment of David and of Shlomo his son.
Mm-hmm.
For in the days of David and Asaph of old, there were chief of the singers and songs of praise and thanksgiving unto Elohim. And all Israel in the days of Zerubbabel and in the days of Nehemiah gave the portions of the singers and the porters every day his portion. And they sanctified holy things unto the Levites, and the Levites sanctified them unto the children of Aaron.
Now, this was before Judaism. Because Judaism didn't come into the picture till after they were under the Greek Empire. This is the Medo-Persian Empire here. So they're coming straight back to the law, doing things that are under the law. They got the priests in place, and they got the Levites in place. They got to make sure everybody know their place. So in those days, they kept a genealogy of who belonged to what tribe. We don't have that now. And they burned that temple. They burned all evidence of us even being there. So we just have to find out, Yahweh willing, when we get to the wilderness, Yahweh willing. Ain't no need knowing if you ain't going to be there. That's all I'm saying. So Yahweh keeping that a secret to us, so that we don't jump the gun and say, I'm from the tribe of Dan. You gotta recognize me. I'm Dan. So my father came on slave ships, and they had the genealogies on them too, in their pocket. How do they know they from Dan, man? They don't know. Somebody told them. They figured that must be us. Because I think that's what Esau did with the folk in Africa, right?
Mm-hmm.
How the hell he know?
Yeah, they caught him, boy. They caught him. I think that the media set him up. Esau, well, the media ran by Esau. Like Esau said Esau up. They was talking to them, and out of nowhere came these colored people. And they asked them, well, who are them? Who are they? And one of the spokesmen for the Edomites said, oh, that's Dan, our brother. I remember that. He said, that's our brother Dan. So he came a long way from Asia, Europe or Asia. He walked a long ways, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, if that's Dan and their brother, why don't they look alike?
It's true.
Right? So that is the con game, trying to make people say, yeah, they don't look like us, but that's our brother. And in fact, it is kind of true. Esau don't look like he was when he first born, because he mingled the seed among all the powerful people in the world. So yeah, he's going to look like the powerful people in the world. But we didn't have anybody mingle with us, because nobody want to be around us. They don't want to be like us. So, but that's all right. That's all right. That's another way Yahweh keeping his seed pure, right? Because Esau's seed is not pure. So he keep that, because we the holy seed. So Yahweh make sure nobody comes in onto us and defile the seed. Just like we read about in Ezra, they mingle the seed among the heathen around about. Yahweh don't want us to do that. Yeah. So be glad to be with the one you with. Go ahead, Brother Stephanie.
Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
On that day they read in the book of Moshe in the audience of the people, and therein was found written that the Ammonite and the Moabite should not come into the congregation of Elohim forever, because they met not the children of Israel with bread and with water, but hired Balaam against them, that he should curse them. Howbeit our Elohim turned the curse into a blessing. Now it came to pass, when they had heard the law, that they separated from from Israel all the mixed
So
multitude.
that is, again, we were always supposed to be a separate people. And so you got a people here that Moab and Ammon would not come into the congregation of Elohim forever. Now, I mean, the Gentiles will be able to come to the congregation of Yahweh, but not the Moabites. Why? Because they hired Balaam to curse his people. Now, you don't get away with that. And Balaam was a very powerful diviner. But Yahweh turned that cursing into blessing. So for doing that, instead of meeting them with bread and water, they hire somebody to curse them, so they'll never be able to come unto the congregation of the children of Israel. Now, what does that mean? Will they die out? Will they go into captivity? Other nations, because they will not be able to come into the land. And their land is what we call Jordan today. So I don't know how that's going to work out. If they can't come among the children of Israel, then what's the point of them being there? So they may just fade on out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, die on out. Nobody want to appropriate with them. And so they may just die on out, man. Yeah. Go ahead, Brother Stephen.
Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
And before this, Eliashib the priest, having the oversight of the chamber of the house of our Elohim, was allied unto Tobiah, and he had prepared for him a great chamber, where aforetime they laid the meal offerings, the frankincense, and the vessels, and the tithes of the grain, the new wine, and the oil, which was commanded to be given to the Levites, and the singers, and the porters, and the offerings of the priests.
Mm-hmm.
But in all this time was not I at Jerusalem, for in the 32nd year of Artaxerxes king of Babylon came I unto the king, and after certain days obtained I leave of the king. And I came to Jerusalem and understood of the evil that Eliashib did for Tobiah, in preparing him a chamber in the courts of the house of Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
And it grieved me sore, therefore I cast forth all the household stuff of Tobiah out of the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Then I commanded, and they cleansed the chambers. And thither brought I again the vessels of the house of Elohim with the meal offering and the frankincense.
Now, in verse 9, it says, but in all this time was not I at Jerusalem, for in the 32nd year of Artaxerxes, king of Babylon, came I unto the king, and after certain days I obtained I leave of the king. Now, we read that was back in Nehemiah chapter 1, but he says he's the king of Babylon here. This is Persian king.
Mm-hmm.
But what we understand is that once another empire comes and take over your empire may have the same name, but the king will put his people over your empire. Oh. So this Artaxerxes was king in Babylon, but he was also king of the Medo-Persian Empire also. So they had taken over. They hadn't destroyed Babylon at the time, but they killed what's his name, the son of Nebuchadnezzar.
It's a hard on. It's a hard on.
Yeah. Not none of ours that.
It's a hard on, something like that. Like extra hard on, it's a hard on, something.
Let me see. I got his name in here.
I know it wasn't Belshazzar. One of him was.
Yeah, Belshazzar.
That was him?
Yeah,
Okay.
Belshazzar. That was his name.
Okay.
Because they named Daniel Belteshazzar.
Yeah.
So the king of Babylon was Belshazzar, the grandson of Nebuchadnezzar, and they killed him. But they still have Babylon here. That's my point. Go ahead, Brother Stephen.
Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I perceived that the portions of the Levites had not been given them. For the Levites and the singers that did the work were fled, every one to his field. Then contended I with the rulers and said, why is the house of Elohim forsaken? And I gathered them together and set them in their place. Then brought all Yehuda the tithe of the grain and the new wine and the oil unto the treasuries. And I made treasurers over the treasuries, Shalom the priest, and Zadok the scribe, and of the Levites, Pedaiah, and next to them was Hanan, the son of Zachar, the son of Mattaniah, for they were counted faithful, and their office was to distribute unto their brethren. Remember me, O my Elohim, concerning this, and wipe not out my good deeds that I have done for the house of my Elohim, and for the offices thereof. In those days saw I in Yehuda some treading wine presses on the Sabbath, and bringing in sheaves and laden asses, as also wine, grapes, and figs, and all manner of burdens, which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. And I testified against them in the day wherein they sold victuals. There dwelt men of Tyre also therein, which brought fish and all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Yehuda and in Jerusalem. Then I contended with the nobles of Yehuda, and said unto them, what evil thing is this that you do, and profane the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers thus, and did not our Elohim bring all this evil upon us and upon this city? Yet you bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath. And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut, and charged they should not be opened till after the Sabbath. And some of my servants set I at the gates, that there should be no burden brought in on the Sabbath day. So the merchants and sellers of all kind of ware lodged without Jerusalem once or twice. Then I testified against them, and said unto them, why lodge you about the wall? If you do so again, I will lay hands on you. From that time forth came they no more on the Sabbath.
You notice he didn't say we would lay hands on you. He said, I'm going to lay hands on you. So Nehemiah wasn't playing. Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 22. And I commanded the Levites that they should cleanse themselves, and that they should come and keep the gates to sanctify the Sabbath day. Remember me, O my Elohim, concerning this also, and spare me according to the greatness of thy mercy. In those days also saw I Jews that had married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and of Moab, and their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language, but according to the language of each people. And I contended with them, and cursed them, and smote certain of them, and plucked off their hair, and made them swear by Elohim, saying, you shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves. Did not Shlomo, king of Israel, sin by these things? Yet among many nations was there no king like him, who was beloved of his Elohim, and Elohim made him king over all Israel. Nevertheless, even him did outlandish women cause to sin. Shall we then hearken unto you to do all this great evil, to transgress against our Elohim in marrying strange wives? And one of the sons of Yoda, the son of Eliashib, the high priest, was son-in-law to Sanballat the Horonite. Therefore I chased him from me. Remember them, O my Elohim, because they have defiled the priesthood and the covenant of the priesthood and of the Levites. Thus cleansed I them from all strangers, and appointed the wards of the priests and the Levites, every one in his business, and for the wood offering at times appointed, and for the first fruits. Remember me, O my Elohim, for good.
All right, Brother Seven. This will be the last book we do in this history class. Now, the odd thing about Esther is that now his name is not mentioned. But nevertheless, it's still a good story. It also tells us where they get the Feast of Purim from. Because I'm doing this ordeal here. Go ahead, Brother Seven. Let's start this off in the book of Esther.
Esther chapter 1, verse 1. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus, this is Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces, that in those days, when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan the palace. In the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and the princes of the provinces being before him, when he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days. And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace, where were white, green, and blue hangings, fastened with cords of fine linen and purple, to silver rings and pillars of marble. The beds were of gold and silver, upon a pavement of red and blue and white and black marble. And they gave them drink in vessels of gold, the vessels being diverse one from another, and royal wine in abundance, according to the state of the king. And the drinking was according to the law, none did compel. But so the king had appointed to all the officers of his house, that they should do according to every man's pleasure. Also Vashti the queen made a feast for the women in the royal house, which belonged to King Ahasuerus. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, and Abagtha, Sethar, and Carcas, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner toward all that knew law and judgment. And next unto him was Karshena, Shethar, Amethar, Tarshish, Meres, Marsenah, and Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat first in the kingdom. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to the law, because she have not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains? And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen have not done wrong to the king only, but also to the princes and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus. But this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes, when it shall be reported, the king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not. Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen, thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti came no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. And when the king's decree which he shall make shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small. And the saying pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Memucan, for he sent letters into all the king's provinces, and to every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people.
Now, they said, King, you got to do something about this, right? So he sent out a decree saying that the women cannot do what Vashti did by law. Now, see, we shouldn't have to be concerned about that, but nevertheless, we see here that they are concerned about how these women act, that they didn't want them women getting in the husband's face like Vashti did, or disobey her husband, because then the news was spread out. It's all right to disobey your husband. So that the king had to put it in the law. No, you can't do that. But he was so mad, we don't even know whatever happened to Vashti. But they say, you better get you somebody else. Yeah, but now that's the beautiful thing about the kingdom that's going to be set up. Your wives are going to be very, very submissive to you. They're going to be very, very quiet around you.
They must gonna be
Not
dead.
this
Huh?
They must gonna be dead.
No, Steve.
That's a new one.
No. You have a great day coming, you married brothers.
They are gonna be living and they're gonna be quiet.
Yes, Steve. Yes.
Yeah.
No, hey, that's not funny, man.
That sound like a song.
Look at Eve. Eve already quiet, ain't she?
Yeah, well, you know, she got to stay on the low low since she got kicked out of the garden. She's still here, waiting to go back. Go ahead, Brother Sam.
Esther chapter 2, verse 1. After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done and what was decreed against her. Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, let there be fair young virgins sought for the king, and let the king appoint officers in all provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan the palace, to the house of the women, unto the custody of Hegi, the king's chamberlain, keeper of the women, and let their things for purification be given them. And let the maiden which pleases the king be queen instead of Vashti. And the thing pleased the king, and he did so. Now in Shushan the palace there was a certain Jew, whose name was Mordecai, the son of Yair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite, who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Yehuda, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away.
Did you catch what it said in verse 5? It says, now in Shushan the palace there was a certain Jew, whose name was Mordecai, the son of Yair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite. But he called him a Jew. See, that practice had already been started by the time they came out of the Babylonian captivity. Before they came out of Babylonian captivity, because they're in Persia right here.
Yeah.
Right? So the Judah was so big that and all of them look like Benjamites and Levites look like each other, so they just call them all Jews. And that's why these people over here in our land messed up, because they made people think that the children of Israel had come back home. Well, the rest of the tribes.
Yeah.
See, we can see you getting away with being called a Jew here, because that's what that was done in the Gospels and Epistles. But you're going to get all 12 tribes back into the land, you got to know what tribe they are. They didn't know what tribe they are. They went around naming folks. That's Dan over there, and that's Naphtali over here. But how do you know? It's because you just pointing your finger at people. No. We're going to let Yahweh search that out. Whatever Yahweh says, we were supposed to be, we'll be there. But you are imposters of yourself. You got to make us think that you know which tribe everybody from. None of the tribes look like you either. Yeah, man.
So what's the process? I know you don't know, but I'm just throwing it out there. Hypothetical question. What's the process in the wilderness? What the angels gonna tell us what tribe we from? How we go? I mean, how that process get broke down? I mean, I know you don't know, but I'm just throwing it out there.
I know. Because I think about that process also. How is it that it's gonna be revealed to us what tribe we're coming from? All I know is you know who you come from when you come out the wilderness. Right? Now, the process of revealing those things to us, I don't know. Whether it be the angels or would it be David, whoever else is out there with us, we'll know by the time we get up out of there. Because we'll know where we're supposed to be at. Because according to Joel chapter 2, that the people are going to stand on the steps and cry out to Yahweh. Say, Yahweh, why have you let the heathen say, where is their God? I'm paraphrasing. But he separated the priests out of that group in chapter 2 of Joel. So I'm looking at by the time the 3.5 years is up, somehow, some way we're gonna know where we come from. I can't tell you right now how we're gonna do that, but maybe it'll be done by when we get there, because angel may separate us. Say, Hilaire, you come over here, Shishan, you go over there, Zach, you go over there, and Steve, you're Indian, so you can't go.
Yeah, probably won't make it to the wilderness, huh? You never know.
You go down there.
That's why y'all. I remember we read that in one of the smaller prophets said, I'm gonna purify that blood which I have not purified. It might be me, huh?
Yeah, especially you, Steve. Yeah, you need purified.
No!
You part Cherokee, bro.
Is this the same Kish that was the father of
Saul?
Saul?
No. No, this is
lineage.
much later after
Yeah.
Saul.
Long walk to see.
Yeah, so.
I just like from the lineage up, since they're going all the way back.
Well, you talking about verse 5? It says, now in Shushan the palace there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jared, the son of Chimeah, the son of Kish, a Benjamite. But you got to remember, back during the time of Kish, they knew what tribe they came from. So they wouldn't have to call a Benjamite a Jew. So this is another Kish. Some of these names are repetitive. It's because they kept them. But and this is not necessarily the same person. You got two Jeroboams. That's not a common name, but yet still you have a King Jeroboam too. Yeah. One of the kings, Jeroboam, son of Nebat. And then you got, I think 100 years later, you got another king named Jeroboam the second. So yeah, the names are kind of repetitive, so it wouldn't be surprising if you see the name come up in somebody else's genealogy. It just so happened to be in Benjamin's genealogy because Kish himself, they probably named that boy Kish after Kish, the father of Saul. So that's not a common name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on, Brother Shepherd.
Esther chapter 2, verse 7. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter. But she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and her mother were dead, took for his own daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So it came to pass when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace, to the custody of Haggai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house, to the custody of Haggai, keeper of the women.
Mm-hmm.
And the maidens pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him, and he speedily gave her things for purification, with such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens, which were meet to be given her out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women.
Mm-hmm.
Esther had not showed her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not show it,
Mm-hmm.
And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the women's house to know how Esther did and what should become of her.
Now look at what the king gets. Just being king. He gets the best of everything. He does not have to marry a woman that's already been married or just been divorced or whatever. He get the virgins. That's what the king deserves. Look at David when he was old, got a virgin named, what's her name, Abishag.
Mm-hmm.
Virgin. Fine all day long. I'm just imagining. I ain't seen her, but I can imagine. Yeah, man.
So at this time, do you think the Persians are dark-skinned people?
Uh,
Because Esther should be kind of dark-skinned, being a Benjamite.
I'm looking at that man and I'm thinking she's a red bone, bro.
They didn't know who Esther was.
Right, because, I mean, you ain't got but two choices when it comes to dark-skinned people. That's either us or Ham,
Mm-hmm.
right? But when you talk about light-skinned people, she might be a light-skinned girl. And in that part of the world, you're looking at Persia. And so them women kind of got that same look, that exotic look. So she might have blended in with the Persian women back in those days, so they couldn't tell what she was.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Her and Sarah.
Yeah.
They probably stuck out among our women, didn't
Yeah. Yeah. We had some beautiful women.
they? Yeah.
Yeah. And up until lately here, let's keep on going, Steve, before I say something. I lose people. I'm going to say, I heard what you said.
Esther chapter 2, verse 12.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when every maid's turn was come to go into King Ahasuerus, after that she had been 12 months, according to the manner of the women, for so were the days of their purification accomplished, to wit 6 months with oil of myrrh, and 6 months with sweet odors, and with other things for the purifying of the women. Then thus came every maiden unto the king. Whatsoever she desired was given her to go out with her out of the house of the women unto the king's house.
So again, the king gets the best, always gets a virgin. And he's got all the virgins in his province coming up to him, right? Got a special place, purifying them and everything. So all he got to do is go to bed with them. And if he don't like them, she become a concubine. So but she belongs to the king. Nobody else can have that concubine. You look at what happened with Reuben, sleep with his father's concubine. He lost his position as firstborn son. And then you got Absalom sleeping with his father's concubine, and David couldn't go back in him no more. So even though they're concubines, they're not that far from being a wife, because they're being taken care of by the king. Even Abraham had concubines, and he was an old man. So if y'all will let me see him, I'm gonna salute him. Cause man, you was over 100 years old, you still kicking it. Go ahead, Brother Stephen.
Esther chapter 2, verse 14. In the evening she went, and on the morrow she returned into the second house of the women to the custody of Shaashgaz, the king's chamberlain, which kept the concubines. She came into the king no more, except the king delighted in her, and that she will call by name.
What's a chamberlain?
Kind of like a butler.
A what?
Kind of like a butler.
Mm-hmm.
A butler?
Yeah.
Not quite. They are eunuchs.
Okay, let me put that in eunuchs.
Right. Notice you talk about when you talk about a chamberlain, they're talking about him being over the women. Right. So that's what a chamberlain is. He's a eunuch because you can trust a eunuch.
No, I thought you were talking about Wilt.
Who?
Wilt Chamberlain. He's 7 foot tall, so he'd be over the women.
Those eunuchs were very trusted people because they know they couldn't do nothing anyway. So yeah. So what else? You ain't got no trust but to trust him. You can't trust no regular person. Go ahead, Steve.
Esther chapter 2, verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
Now when the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her for his daughter, was come to go in unto the king, she required nothing but what Haggai, the king's chamberlain, the keeper of the women, appointed. And Esther obtained favor in the sight of all them that looked upon her. So Esther was taken unto King Ahasuerus into his house royal in the 10th month, which is the month Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign.
Mm-hmm.
And the king loved Esther above all the women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. Then the king made a great feast unto all his princes and his servants, even Esther's feast, and he made a release to the provinces and gave gifts according to the state of the king.
Mm-hmm.
And when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai sat in the king's gate. Esther had not yet showed her kindred nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her. For Esther did the commandment of Mordecai, like as when she was brought up with him. In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, two of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth and sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus. And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen, and Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name. And when inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out. Therefore they were both hanged on a tree. And it was written in the book of the Chronicles before the king. After these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him, and set his seat above all the princes that were with him. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence. Then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, Why transgressest thou the king's commandment? Now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath. And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai long, for they had showed him the people of Mordecai. Therefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai. In the first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast pure, that is the lot, before Haman from day to day and from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month Adar. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, There is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people, neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore it is not for the king's profit to suffer them. If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business, to bring it into the king's treasuries. And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the Jews' enemy. And the king said unto Haman, The silver is given to thee, the people also, to do with them as it seemeth good to thee. Then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month, and that was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenants and to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language. In the name of King Ahasuerus was it written and sealed with the king's ring. And the letters were sent by post into all the king's provinces, to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey. The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, that they should be ready against that day. The post went out, being hastened by the king's commandment, and the decree was given in Shushan the palace. And the king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city Shushan was perplexed.
Mordecai caused all this because he disrespected Haman. Right? So he want to blame all the Jews because of Mordecai. So we need to send a decree out to kill all the Jews, men, women, and children. And the Jews, the rest of the Jews didn't know what was going on. Why you want to kill us? What did we do? Mordecai was there. He wouldn't stand up for Haman. Mordecai, you better stand up for that man. Go ahead, Steph.
Esther chapter 4, verse 1. When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes, and went out into the midst of the city and cried with a loud and bitter cry, and came even before the king's gate, but none might enter into the king's gate clothed with sackcloth. And in every province, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, there was great mourning among the Jews, and fasting, and weeping, and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes. So Esther's maid and her chamberlains came and told it her. Then was the king exceedingly grieved, and she sent raiment to clothe Mordecai, and to take away his sackcloth from him, but he received it not. Then called Esther for Hatak, one of the king's chamberlains, whom he had appointed to attend upon her, and gave him a commandment to Mordecai to know what it was and why it was. So Hatak went forth to Mordecai unto the street of the city, which was before the king's gate. And Mordecai told him of all that had happened unto him, and of the sum of the money that Haman had promised to pay to the king's treasuries for the Jews to destroy them. Also he gave them the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at Shushan to destroy them, to show it unto Esther, and to declare it unto her, and to charge her that she should go in unto the king to make supplication unto him, and to make requests before him for her people. And Hatak came and told Esther the words of Mordecai. Again Esther spake unto Hatak, and gave him commandment unto Mordecai. All the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king into the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death, except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter, that he may live. But I have not been called to come in unto the king these 30 days. And they told Mordecai Esther's word. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not within thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house more than all the Jews. For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed. And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer, go, gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast you for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise, and so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law, and if I perish, I perish. So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded him. Now it came to pass on the 3rd day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house over against the king's house. And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house over against the gate of the house. And it was so, when the king saw Esther the queen standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight. And the king held out to Esther the royal scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter. Then said the king unto her, what wilt thou, Queen Esther? And what is thy request? It shall be even given thee to half of the kingdom. And Esther answered, if it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for him. Then the king said, cause Haman to make haste, that he may do as Esther have said. So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared. And the king said unto Esther at the banquet of wine, what is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? Even to half of the kingdom it shall be performed. Then answered Esther and said, my petition and my request is, if I have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it please the king to grant my petition and to perform my request, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them, and I will do tomorrow as the king hath said. Then went Haman forth that day joyful and with a glad heart. But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, that he stood not up, nor moved for him, he was full of indignation against Mordecai. Nevertheless, Haman refrained himself, and when he came home, he sent and called for his friends and for Zeresh his wife. And Haman told them of the glory of his riches, and the multitude of his children, and all the things wherein the king had promoted him, and how he had advanced him above the princes and servants of the king. Haman said, moreover, yea, Esther the queen did let no man come in with the king unto the banquet that she had prepared but myself. And tomorrow am I invited unto her also with the king. Yet all this availeth me nothing, so long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate. Then said Zeresh his wife and all his friends unto him, let a gallows be made of 50 cubits high, and tomorrow speak thou unto the king that Mordecai may be hanged thereon. Then go thou in merrily with the king unto the banquet. And the thing pleased Haman, and he caused the gallows to be made.
He don't know he being set up. He think everything already hunky-dory. I'm the king's best friend. So, but little did he know, he dealing with a Jew. Go on, Steve.
On that night, Esther chapter 6, verse 1. On that night could not the king sleep, and he commanded to bring the book of records of the Chronicles, and they were read before the king. And it was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus. And the king said, what honor and dignity have been done to Mordecai for this? Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, there's nothing done for him. And the king said, who is in the court? Now Haman was coming to the outward court of the king's house to speak unto the king to hang Mordecai on the gallows that he had prepared for him. And the king's servant said unto him, behold, Haman standeth in the court. And the king said, let him come in. So Haman came in, and the king said unto him, what shall be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor? Now Haman thought in his heart, to whom would the king delight to do honor more than to myself? And Haman answered the king, for the man whom the king delighteth to honor, let the royal apparel be brought which the king useth to wear, and the horse that the king rideth upon, and the royal crown which is set upon his head. And let this apparel and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princes, that they may array the man withal, whom the king delighteth to honor, and bring him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaim before him, thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor. Then the king said to Haman, make haste, and take the apparel and the horse, as thou hast said, and do even so to Mordecai the Jew, that sitteth at the king's gate. Let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken.
Can you imagine his look?
Oh, wow.
The man he hate the most in the herd. The king, that's the king's best friend. He know he's in trouble now. Because, no, I don't think he knows he's in trouble because he doesn't know that Esther know what he did. So you're going to see. Go ahead, verse 7.
Esther chapter 6, verse 11. Then Haman took the apparel and the horse and arrayed Mordecai and brought him on horseback through the street of the city and proclaimed before him, thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor. And Mordecai came again to the king's gate, but Haman hasted to his house, mourning and having his head covered. And Haman told Zeresh his wife and all his friends everything that had befallen him. Then said his wise men and Zeresh his wife unto him, if Mordecai be of the seed of the Jews, before whom thou hast begun to fall, thou shalt not prevail against him, but shall surely fall before him. And while they were yet talking with him, came the king's chamberlain and hasted to bring Haman unto the banquet that Esther had prepared.
Now, Stephen, I'm gonna stop here. We'll pick this up next week, Yahweh willing. But before we dismiss, does anyone have any questions?
Good pass.
All right, let's see what we got here. I have Elder Al-Hayam as Mother Malaka on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay. Shalom, Elder Al-Hayam and Mother Malaka. Hold on a second. All right. Okay, Shalom, Julius Brown, Shalom, Bishop Judah, Shalom, Lonely Red Wolf, Shalom, Gregor Rucker, Shalom, Morning Crisp, Shalom, Brother Eliyahu, Shalom, Elder Mick, Shalom, Brother Yosef, Shalom, Jimmy O'More, Shalom, Elder Tobiah, Shalom, Sean Berry, Shalom, Levi the Believer, Shalom, Nia the P, Shalom, Brother McAnderson, Shalom, Brother Abisha Judah. She was the Amorites, Shemitic people, yes. No, I take that up. I'm thinking about the Amorites. The Amorites were Hamitic people. The Ammonites were Shemitic people. Those names sound a little familiar, but yeah, the Amorites, the Hamitic people, they're African-looking people, just like the Egyptians and the rest of Ham's children, even Sodom and Gomorrah. Shalom, Brother Hodiah. Shalom, Linda Curry. Shalom, Yemima by Israel. Shalom, Elder Hiram. Shalom, Brother Clarence Marks and Sister Yolita. Shalom, Sister Rachel by Israel. Shalom, Kimberly Israel. Shalom, Brother Malachi. Shalom, Brother Benaiah. Shalom, Wanda M. Shelton. Shalom, Shamiyan Yasharala, Elder. Shalom, Elder Azariah. Shalom, Brother Alahayim. Praise Yah. Shalom, Jerry Porter. Okay, it must be a new guy. Who's this? Who is it?
Hey, buddy.
Oh, Ray Truck? Okay. All right. At least he keep it in touch. All right. Well, listen, now, if that's the case, I don't think we have any more questions or comments. I'm going to go ahead and lock it down. Appreciate y'all checking us out. Check our sisters class out this coming 5th day, which is Thursday at 8 o'clock. You can reach them on Zoom. And lastly, we will have our Sabbath service this coming Saturday, y'all willing, at 1 o'clock, at 1:30. Y'all willing, if we're still here. This thing heating up around the world, bro. Yeah.
The calendar's been updated too on the website. The calendar has been updated with the 18th for the new year. The calendar.
It's been updated?
Yeah.
Praise y'all. Got that 8th out of there, put the 18th in there?
Yes.
Okay. All right, praise y'all. Because I know Sister Rachel called me about that, and plus somebody else. But anyway, I got 2 people telling me that, yeah, it was like that on our website. Again, praise Yahweh for your Facebook, YouTube. Yahweh keep you and bless you and keep you